Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Well, for the most part, the day has been relatively quiet across a good chunk of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. I've got a couple of different cameras I'll show you here in just a few minutes. Some of us are actually getting to enjoy plenty of sunshine, and temperatures are climbing into the upper 70s, and in some cases, temperatures have climbed into the lower 80s across the Tennessee Valley, especially east of the I-65 corridor, where we've been able to see a little bit of sunshine up until, well, right around this point in the afternoon. Now, over about the last hour and a half, we've seen a line of showers and thunderstorms begin to push their way into northwest Alabama. And for the most part, this activity has been behaving itself. It kind of moved into northwest Alabama. It brought some gusty winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, a little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning. When this line of showers and thunderstorms first began to push its way into northwest Alabama, it had a light outflow boundary associated with it, and that's really nothing extra severe or anything like that. It just kind of means the winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour kind of precede the rain by about 5 to 10 minutes. And in general, this line is still behaving itself. Now, I say that, and over the last 10 or 15 minutes or so, we have had a severe thunderstorm warning be issued for portions of Cobb and Franklin County. Now, it's mostly for this area here, just to the northeast of Vina, just kind of to the north of Hodges, where we're kind of getting into some of this deeper red, deeper pinkish, purplish sort of a color. This little area, it's beginning to push its way into Russellville, as a matter of fact. It's moving to the north-northeast at about 20 or 25 miles per hour, so I would anticipate it's probably going to move into Russellville and Littleville as it pushes its way to the northeast, as this entire line continues to push its way to the northeast over the next 25 or 30 minutes. Now, this little area, again, it has just recently moved out of Vina, kind of moved out of Red Bay, sitting to the north of Hodges. It is packing a bit of a punch compared to the rest of the line, right? It is producing some frequent thunder and lightning. Now, this part of the line is also producing a little bit of hail. I believe the hail has been small. Observations over in northwest Alabama have observed some small hail associated with this particular part of the storm, but then we're also talking about some gustier winds. Within the severe warned portion of this storm, wind gusts have been anywhere between 50 and 60 miles per hour. Radar just updated there. You can kind of see it. This entire area, again, moving to the north-northeast at about 20 or 25 miles per hour. So it's moving quite slow. So one of the things I think we're going to end up seeing across the Tennessee Valley, I think we're probably going to end up increasing the threat for a little bit of localized flash flooding. Now, all of this activity is associated with a cold front. Now, the cold front sits just back off to the west. The cold front is going to push its way into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the overnight and then early into your Sunday morning. It's only the area well out ahead of the cold front that we're going to be concerned with, kind of the leading edge, that line of showers and thunderstorms. Everything behind that immediate line is just some pockets of moderate to at times heavy rainfall, which is something we're going to be really thankful for, because at this stage in the game, we're heading into the early and middle part of March. Well, we could use the rain across the Tennessee Valley. So while we're also still talking about the chance for strong and severe thunderstorms, that's why we have our FOX54 Weather Impact Alert Day. That's why we're providing you with this update now. We also have a fair amount of rain that we actually could use. So let's run Futurecast over the next couple of hours, and we're literally going to run this hour by hour. So here's Futurecast at 4 o'clock, still talking about that line across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Cobb, down into Franklin counties. I think it's probably going to be a little bit further to the east than this specific model likes to bring it. But for the most part, it's pretty dead on. Still talking about some stronger thunderstorms up across southern Middle Tennessee. And over the next couple of hours, we're going to continue to talk about those main concerns: the gusty winds, the small hail, frequent thunder and lightning. There is an incredibly low, non-zero, but still incredibly low threat of a quick, isolated spin-up tornado. My phone keeps vibrating, so I just wanted to check and make sure I am not missing any updates. But overall, the threat of anything tornadic is going to remain incredibly low. We haven't seen any of that activity back across the state of Mississippi. Now, granted, we've had a little bit more of an ability to destabilize here across the Tennessee Valley, but I still don't necessarily think it's going to come to fruition. There's really not a whole lot of wind shear to play with. While there might be a little bit of instability, there's not a lot of wind shear. And what is wind shear? Well, wind shear is a lot of that natural rotation within the thunderstorm. And if there's no rotation, well, then it's almost impossible to get anything tornadic. That could change at an extremely localized level but the chances of that happening are going to be incredibly small. Here's Futurecast 5 o'clock in the evening, beginning to see that line of showers and thunderstorms kind of push its way across the I-65 corridor. At this point, kind of beginning to push into the 565 corridor, pushing through Limestone County, heading into northern Madison County, through Giles and Lincoln counties, up across southern Middle Tennessee. Showers and thunderstorms kind of pushing their way on through Lawrence County. Advance things just 1 hour later, 6 o'clock in the evening. And again, I think this model is probably a little bit behind. I think by 6 o'clock, it's probably going to begin to push a little more into Jackson County. But for the most part, I would say the line is probably doing a pretty good job here. So by 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30, we're talking about showers and thunderstorms through the Huntsville Metro, back into Madison, Decatur, heading down into Hartselle. Folks in Coleman County might still be dry. A chunk of Morgan County could potentially still be dry. We're talking about some showers and thunderstorms across Athens, but then back across northwest Alabama, check that out. We're actually beginning to do a really good job at quieting down a little bit, in that the threat for anything severe is going to be over, but you're still going to be talking about some rain across northwest Alabama as we head into the early and middle part of the evening. So tonight is probably going to be one of those nights to stay inside, cook your dinner at home, probably not going to want to go out this evening. Nobody's going to want to go out in the rain. We're just simply going to be talking about rain, and you don't want to go out in that. We're beginning to quiet things down. Giles and Lincoln counties up across southern Middle Tennessee, 7, 8 o'clock this evening. Still talking about some showers and thunderstorms across northeast Alabama, Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. But as this line pushes its way to the east, it's going to do a really good job at weakening. So it's not going to pack as big of a punch as it pushes its way to the east as we go through the later part of the afternoon, eventually as we head into the early and middle part of the evening. 8, 9 o'clock at night, now the threat for severe weather is essentially over across the Tennessee Valley, right? But we're still going to be talking about some pockets of moderate to at times heavy rainfall, maybe a couple of claps of thunder thrown into the mix, but for the most part, the threat for severe weather would be over by 7, 8 o'clock at night. We're just going to be talking about some rain. By the time we get to 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, now we're beginning to dry out. We're going to get some breaks in the rain. I think the vast majority of us actually are going to begin to dry out as we head into the overnight and then early into your Sunday morning. Now, we're never going to dry out completely, but I do think we're going to get rid of a lot of the rain. Let's go back to the radar. Just wanted to provide you a little bit of an update. Still talking about that severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be in place until, I believe, 3:30. So we got about another 25 or 24 minutes on that. And again, that's for portions of Colbert and Franklin counties associated with this line of showers and thunderstorms that's continuing to push its way to the east. As a matter of fact, this line is a bit ahead of schedule from what I just showed you on Futurecast. And I kind of mentioned that I thought Futurecast was a little bit behind. I thought it was doing a pretty good job, but it is a little bit behind. We're already beginning to see that line push its way into Lawrence County. Still maybe a sign there of a little bit of an outflow boundary, but that's about it. The strongest part of this line beginning to push its way into Russellville, beginning to move out of Florence already. So at this point, the threat for any severe weather in Florence has probably come to an end at this point. Threat for any severe weather in Lawrenceburg up across southern Middle Tennessee has come to an end. Strongest part of this storm beginning to push its way into Russellville right now. Strongest part of this storm going to begin to move into Ardmore probably over the next 10 or 15 minutes. Again, this line of showers and thunderstorms, while it is pushing its way to the east, it's also beginning to push its way to the northeast a little bit. And that's going to slow things down. So if you're in the Huntsville metro area, back into Decatur, Hartselle, Coleman, Madison, you folks probably have another 45 minutes, maybe an hour or two at the most, before this activity really gets into your area. And those folks east of the I-65 corridor, Huntsville, Madison, and then everybody over in northeast Alabama, you actually get to enjoy a really nice afternoon. The rest of the folks west of the I-65 corridor, their afternoon has had a bit of an interruption. So we'll zoom back in on this area here. Again, kind of looks like the strongest part of this storm really beginning to move out of the Vina area. That's where it was first noticed. That's where we had that stronger hail. Again, just checking to make sure I'm not missing anything exciting. Let me have a quick little glimpse at my phone just to make sure I'm not missing anything exciting. As a matter of fact, it looks like the National Weather Service is trimming back the severe thunderstorm warning. Kind of noticed a weakening trend here anyway as we head into Russellville, some pockets of heavier rain. But it appears the National Weather Service is going to go ahead and cancel the severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin and maybe even Colbert County as well. They have not issued a new severe thunderstorm warning, but it appears they are canceling this current severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for Colbert and Franklin County. So definitely a little bit of good news there. And again, for the most part, these storms have been really behaving themselves through the course of the afternoon, which is good because if you remember, we were on Fox 54 News last night. We'll go back to the radar as long as we're talking about this. And the severe thunderstorm warning box just went away. We were talking about this last night on Fox 54 News, the late news after the baseball game, of course. We were talking about how if I thought there was going to end up being any severe weather across the Tennessee Valley, I thought the greatest chance for that was going to be across northwest Alabama. So it's a little bit of good news that the line of showers and thunderstorms has behaved itself across northwest Alabama, beginning to push its way into Limestone County. As a matter of fact, again, there's Ardmore. Beginning to see maybe a little bit of rain push into Ardmore. At the very least, they're beginning to see a little bit of the wind. Things really beginning to pick up in Russellville. So just something we're going to continue to pay attention to, something we'll continue to watch. Again, zooming back in Littleville, Russellville, those folks beginning to see some heavier rain. Not a lot of lightning with this portion of the storm. Still a fair amount of lightning back Hodges, back into Vina, southern Franklin County. Outside of Phil Campbell, the wind's probably picking up a little bit. You can kind of see these little specks of green. I would anticipate that that's maybe a little bit of an outflow boundary, so the wind might be picking up again 30, 40, upwards of 50 miles per hour. Let's look at current temperatures and dew points. If you look at current temperatures and dew points, we're not talking about an environment that is overly conducive for the development of severe weather, but look at the dew points. Dew points are sitting in the low, borderline mid 60s. So I do think we could get some stronger thunderstorms out of the mix. But those of us that are dry, we are incredibly warm. 78 at the Huntsville International Airport, lower 80s, both Athens and Decatur, upper 70s in Coleman. Sitting in the mid 70s in Fayetteville, cooler in Pulaski, cooler in Florence, beginning to see the temperature drop in Russellville. Look at that in Florence. They're sitting at 62 degrees on the back side of that stronger part of the line, but then look at their dew point sitting at 58. Temperature of 62, dew point of 58 probably feels insanely gross over in Florence. And then look at this, we're talking about temperatures in the upper 70s over in northeast Alabama where they're still dry. Live look out over the Parkway, mix of sunshine and cloud cover. Now the sunshine, not necessarily a good thing. Maybe it's allowing us to destabilize just a little bit, which would allow the storms to pack a little bit of a punch once they move into Madison County. Just something we're going to continue to watch, something we're going to continue to pay attention to. Coleman County, I've got just a couple of camera views for you. Again, a mix of sunshine and cloud cover in Coleman. Otherwise, kind of looks like a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Live look from the top of Green Mountain, again, much the same. I don't have any views over in northwest Alabama, lacking in cameras. Over in northwest Alabama. So unfortunately, I don't have any really cool views to show you over in that part of the Tennessee Valley. Newmarket, again, really not a bad afternoon for those of us that are currently not talking about any rain. And then over in DeKalb County, a little more cloud cover over in DeKalb County, which is a good thing. Can see some peaks of sunshine kind of working their way through the sky, but otherwise, the vast majority of it appears to be cloud cover. Don't forget, in all this talk of strong and severe thunderstorms, daylight saving time begins early tomorrow morning. Clocks are going to go from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. on March 8th. That's tomorrow morning, by the way. Sunset is going to be right around 6:50 p.m. Begin to wrap things up here in just about a minute. See if I can get back quick enough, and I'll show you one more shot of the radar. If I don't get back to show you one more shot, I'm going to get back there. But again, just going to stick with you for just another couple of minutes. I don't want to hold you up too long. Of course, if we need to come back here to Fox 54 Plus or come back to Facebook, then we'll definitely do that. And if we are getting any comments, I'll obviously go back and answer those as well. So live look at the radar just one more time. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. Still talking about some showers and thunderstorms back across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, down into Franklin County, beginning to see that activity push its way into Lawrence County, beginning to see that activity push its way into Limestone County. Again, no severe thunderstorm warnings associated with this line of showers and thunderstorms, so that is definitely some good news. Nothing up across southern Middle Tennessee, nothing across North Alabama, but we are talking about some heavier rain. Maybe a little bit of small hail, especially with the southern extent of this across Colbert and Franklin County. That's the only location where we've seen some hail. A little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning. So something we'll continue to watch over the next couple of hours, right? And maybe we'll do another one of these updates in an hour and a half or so. We'll just see, do these updates as needed. But in the meantime, I'll let you get back to the rest of your Saturday.